I mean, just imagine the electricity as Lincoln appears right in your midst.
April 4th, 1865.
Just devastation, ruins everywhere.
At the end of the Civil War.
We have several accounts of people saying that he became very emotional at several times.
Historian Mike Gorman describes President Abraham Lincoln walking the streets of the River City.
24 hours before, there had been a Confederate States of America here in Richmond, and now here's Abraham Lincoln. What a day.
But this little-known episode will be overshadowed just days later when darkness falls over the nation.
No president had been assassinated in America before. This is the first.
At Ford's Theater, Lincoln is shot by one of America's most popular stage performers, John Wilkes Booth.
President dies at 7:22. Nation mourns fallen leader. Evil deed creates sea of sorrow across the land.
Wayne Brooks with Caroline County Historical Society says Booth's performance is no act.
He wanted to do something that people would remember, and he did.
The cold-blooded killing sparks a massive manhunt.
It wasn't just we need to find the assassin. We need to find John Wilkes Booth, and here's his picture.
The killer escapes into Maryland.
They put wanted posters out.
The assassin eludes capture. Hours turn into days, days melt into weeks.
He was heading to Richmond and hopefully to be safe.
A bounty to catch Booth grows.
As you can see, it was a $100,000 reward for the murderer of President Abraham Lincoln. It's still at large.
Booth crosses the Potomac and Rappahannock rivers, but the noose is tightening.
Ended right at that house, the Lightfoot house, right on the river.
Bill Guzik with Historic Port Royal says Booth reaches Caroline County. He won't get any farther.
This journey, or his escape, and ended here.
The killer, disguising himself as a Civil War soldier, visits the Peyton house.
Walked these stairs, was in this parlor. It's pretty cool. It's living history.
Eventually, Booth and an accomplice, David Harold, find refuge at the Garrett farm. Their pursuers not far behind.
They arrived about 2:30 in the morning.
On April 26th, the U.S. Cavalry discovers Booth in a barn.
Booth says, I'm not going to surrender.
Soldiers set fire to the barn and shoot the assassin.
Just about the same place that Abraham Lincoln had been shot. He was in bad shape. They finally carried him over to the porch of the Garrett house.
The president's killer will die hours later at sunrise.
So as a child, I read the story and knew about it because people talked about it.
According to family lore, Cookie Davis's relatives lay eyes on Booth's body.
I think they were horrified. They had to be.
At Historic Port Royal, a few relics still survive.
This is a hinge to the door where Booth was killed behind. It helps us tell the story today of what happened to Lincoln.
But you won't find the site of Booth's death preserved.
We have this picture. That physical three-dimensional house is gone.
The abandoned home was leveled when the federal government built Fort A.P. Hill at the outset of World War II.
About 150 feet from here stood the Garrett house.
Today, drivers whisk right by a historic marker standing along Route 301.
I think a lot of them don't realize what Assassin's Inn means on that sign.
Well, it's a true story. That's the thing. It's almost like something that's been made up, but it's not.
Cookie Davis says this ugly chapter can't be ignored.
That makes us who we are, I think.
12 days after the president visits Richmond, the story of his killer's demise unfolds just up the road.
They are surprised when we mention, well, I never knew that John Wilkes Booth was killed here in Carolina.
Central Virginia will forever be linked to the death of Abraham Lincoln.
This is part of our story too. It's not just a Washington, D.C. event.
April 1865. That spring, evil came knocking in Caroline.
He had an ego that ended up killing him.
The place where the curtain comes down on the actor turned assassin for good.
John Wilkes Booth died here, but the event is still in our memory, and it's something that we want to preserve.
For I Have a Story.
To know that John Wilkes Booth came to Port Royal and this is where he met his end, it's a big deal.
I'm Greg McQuaid, CBS 6 News.